Welcome everybody, and today we're taking a look at a brand new Hammer 4K limited edition release, and it is 1956's X the Unknown. So this is the normal kind of box that comes around these Hammer releases, but we do also have artwork of the original poster and a new one as well inside that box. So that's the original poster there, and we've got new artwork as well. So yeah, we've also got a bunch of physical extras as well, but we'll talk about the film first. So it is directed by Leslie Norman, who I've not seen anything else from before. Science fiction horror, clocking in at 81 minutes long. And stars the likes of Dean Yeager, who was in the likes of Bad Day at Black Rock, 40 Guns and Rawhide. Then you got Leo McKern, who was in the really rather excellent The Day the Earth Caught Fire, Time Without Pity, and Yesterday's Enemy. And finally, William Lucas, who was in a similar film to The Day the Earth Caught Fire, Night of the Big Heat, or no, not as good, as well as Tower of Evil, and my favourite film starring him, The Shadow of the Cat. So, army radiation experiments awaken a subterranean monster from a fissure that feeds on energy and proceeds to terrorize a remote Scottish village. An American research scientist at a nearby nuclear plant joins with a British investigator to discover why the victims were radioactively burned and why. Shortly thereafter, a series of radiation-related incidents are occurring in an ever-growing straight line away from the fissure. So this was originally intended to be a sequel to the Quatermass experiment, which is another film that Hammer have released in the same kind of format. But even though that didn't happen, you can definitely see the similarities between the two, and I overall enjoy this just as much as that effort and the sequel that it would also eventually get. The cast is also good, the pacing is on point, there is an effective build up to the eventual reveal of what is killing so many people. The production value is also on point, especially for a film that only cost $60,000, and yet the miniature work, the look of the creature itself, and some of the violence as well is also really well done. There's one scene where a guy is melting, and I can kind of guess how they've done it, maybe via using a wax face and then melting it over time and then speeding up the footage, but it still looks effective, and for a 70-year-old film it's certainly a lot more violent than you would get from other efforts from the time. Also another scene where a guy's hand starts bloating up, especially around his thumb, due to being exposed to the radiation while in a hospital. So yeah, definitely more violence here than you might expect, but also a good deal of production value to it despite the low budget itself. The plot is overall engrossing, there is some decent tension, and it is also well shot. So yeah, like I said, I enjoy this just as much as the Quatermass experiment films, to be honest, and yeah, it's another gem of a 1950 sci-fi film, which you, if you watch this channel long enough, you should know that I'm a massive fan of 1950s sci-fi, and yeah, this year has definitely been one of the best years so far to feature so many of these films either getting released for the first time in Blu-ray form or 4K, or getting a 4K upgrade like this one has, because I have had this on Blu-ray before, but it's really nice to finally have it on 4K, and yeah, will go nicely alongside the other three films that I've bought in this kind of limited edition format from Hammer before, with the Curse of Frankenstein and the two Quatermass films as well. So yeah, really been enjoying these kind of releases so far from them. So yeah, this gets a 3.5 out of 5. Not my favourite sci-fi film from the 50s, but neither is it by any means the worst. And once again, we get several discs in this release, and we get some really rather nice artwork on the disc case itself, which you can see. So yeah, we get two 4Ks and two Blu-rays. So the Blu-rays have the same formats as the 4Ks outside of the 4K itself. So yeah, we've got the first 4K there, which has the widescreen 1:66:1 UK theatrical version, and then the full screen 1:37:1 as filmed version. And then on the second 4K, we get the widescreen 1:85:1 US theatrical version, and then the two Blu-rays have the same ones as well, as you can see, which is all very nicely done. And yeah, we also get extras on the discs themselves as well. So on the first disc, we get a 1:66:1. On the 1:66:1 version, we get a 2026 commentary with featuring Toby Hadaiki and Andy Murray. And then on the 1:37:1 version, we get a commentary featuring Konstantin Nazir and Dr. Steve Haberman. We also get Into the Known, A Wide Awake Dream Merchant, and a Jimmy Sangster 2003 interview as well. And then on the 1:85:1 disc, we get a commentary with David Callat, A 2003 commentary featuring Jimmy Sangster and Marcus Hearn, UK trailer, textless UK trailer, textless main titles, UK censor card, A Man on the Beach with 2026 commentary featuring Neil Sinyard, Displaced and Damned, an 8mm cut down version, Sidebar X the Unknown, Restoring the X the Unknown, and Image Gallery as well. And I do believe the same extras, yeah, the same extras are on the Blu-ray discs as well. So it's the 4K element that you aren't getting there as well, on top of all of that. So, yeah, they're all fairly solid extras in the main for the discs themselves. And yeah, we also get, like I said, plenty of physical extras on top of all of that. So we get a poster with this release, which is double-sided and landscape. So we get what I believe is the version of the original poster here. I'll switch back a little bit there. And then we get another version here. I'm not sure if this is an original version or a reinterpretation or not, but yeah, it's all on really rather nice thick paper. And yeah, will go handily on my wall at some point. We also get some art cards as well, so mild spoilers for the film here, but all of them feature that on the reverse there. So yeah, got 8 of them in total. So like I said, mild spoilers for the film. So yeah, this pulls no punches in terms of the kind of people that can get killed or harmed in this film either. By the way, there's no one here with any kind of real plot shielding or anything like that. Now I know all these are in colour, but the film itself is in black and white. Not sure why that is done, to be honest, but yeah, I would have preferred them in black and white, as that is how I am viewing the film at the end of the day. And finally, so yeah, one thing I do like about this film is that it's set in a different kind of area. It's not just set in a, you know, a US main city or even a UK main city. It is in a remote Scottish village. So yeah, that's one thing I really like about this. It kind of reminds me of other films like that that have been set in, you know, more obscure places, which is always nice to see. And then we get a really nice thick booklet with this release as well, called the Hammer Sci-Files, which we've had the kind of thing in the past. So yeah, and we have that right up on the back as well. So inside we have a huge amount of write-ups here. So we've got No You Can't, It's Mine, the making of Hammer's Quatermass adjacent sci-fi horror. The movie world is my reality, a profile of X the Unknown leading man Dean Jaeger. And then we've got Follow-Up Experiment, a look at the attempts to capitalise on Quatermass's success. From Unknown to Damned, an examination of Hammer's collaborations with Joseph Losey. Anthony Newley, The X Unknown, a career overview of the pioneering comedian and world-renowned lyricist. Men, Monsters and Monstrous Men, investigation into the themes of X's contemporaries and double bill partners. I hated working at Hammer, the career of X the Unknown director Leslie Norman, who would go on to do other successful films like Dunkirk, for instance, from 1958. Not a film I've yet seen, but it's definitely got a cast in it that I've seen plenty from before, so I will be checking that out at some point. But it's a bit of a shame that he didn't enjoy his time at Hammer, which might explain why he didn't do any more. You've got You're Not Going Down That Fisher, Do You Hear Me? X the Unknown, a script-to-screen comparison. Then you got a Hammer exclusive BBFC correspondence, credits, limited collector's edition content, and thank yous as well. So, yeah, undoubtedly this would have been subjected to some censorship at the time, given, like I said, it is quite a violent film in certain respects, certainly in comparison to other films of the time. And yeah, you've got like excerpts there where they're like back and forth probably between the censors to try and get it to a reasonable cut down level. So that's neat that they've been able to include that, and that kind of thing is even still, you know, around anyway. So yeah, in terms of the restoration, the film has had the film's 35mm original negative has been lost, and despite an extensive search, neither Hammer, the British Film Institute, nor Warner Brothers, who were previous distributors of the film in the USA, can locate or say where the camera originals have gone. Warner Brothers in Burbank held the best assets for the US version of the film, 35mm fine grain, and had already scanned the element to 4K resolution. The Hammer Vault held a 35mm combined print of the UK version, which, although it has similar content, differs from with alternative main titles. These titles are also scanned at 4K resolution in the UK. The scans were restored extensively using Phoenix Resolve and PF Clean software, in addition to the usual dirt and defects. The main issues with the image were density fluctuations causing flicker throughout and fine surface digs and scratches. By careful processing, the flicker was minimized, allowing for a more even, stable picture. So the digs and scratching took considerable time to repair, as it had to all be done manually, which is good to see that no AI was used in that regard. HDR grading was carried out on the Resolve system, and 3 versions of the film was presented, as I've already mentioned. Um, the US version of the film has slightly different main and end titles. The UK version has an exclusive logo at the head and a different audio for the main titles, just sound effects without music. No separate audio exists for the film, but they have unfortunately used AI to strip out the dialogue up from the final mono mix soundtrack, and using resultant music and effects stems for the surrounds, a new 5.1 sound mix was created. Both US and UK versions are presented in 5.1. The original mono mixes are also available for those that wish to replicate the original theatrical experience. I did watch it in mono audio, so I can't speak to how the 5.1 sounds, especially given that AI has been used in that form. It is a shame that they continue to do that, but there's nothing I can do about it. If I didn't buy this, then yeah, I don't think they'd notice £50 not coming up in their bank. And at the end of the day, I am a massive fan of 50 Sci-Fi, and ultimately, I'm not going to watch any of the AI altered sound. So, it's just a unfortunate addition to this otherwise great release. And yeah, it also goes through all the extras that I've already talked about as well. And the new artwork was commissioned for this release and it was done by Robert Samelin, an art director, illustrator, and designer based in Stockholm. And then there were a bunch of thank yous in the back there as well. So yeah, overall a solid release. It is a shame that there's been a bit of AI used in there, but at least I've not used it for the image itself. It's only for the 5.1 surround sound there. But to be honest, this film doesn't really need that kind of audio option because there's not much in the way of action. And at the end of the day, it's more about the atmosphere and the impending dread and yeah, not knowing what is actually doing all of this harm and destruction. So yeah, that is far more important as far as I'm concerned. And at the end of the day, the rest of this release is great, especially in terms of the physical aspects. The 4K itself looks superb, certainly better than the older Blu-ray that I have. And yeah, it's just another film that is a sci-fi 50s effort that is now more widely available. So yeah, get out there and get it if you haven't already, especially if you're a fan of this kind of film from this period. But if you have seen X the Unknown before, let's hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.